we didn't catch the crashes that we used to catch before. So if we grow the community on the nightly channel, we don't catch them on the on Aurora. So it's faster. Then you talked about automation. A lot of the crashes that we have, they are specific to the configuration of the people. Graphic cards, antivirus, add-ons, tons of things. Like the matrix is gigantic. So everything that we know, we test automatically. But what we don't know, we cannot have tests for. And that's what we are looking for. And now we have just landed the electrolysis. And electrolysis multi-processes is on nightly now. And we have Quantum coming. That's a lot of groundwork, like important changes, like hundreds of thousands of lines of code that are going to land. And we will need this feedback very, very, very early. Does it answer your question? Cool. I will be available most of the time at the booth, at the Mozilla booth in Building K, so don't hesitate to talk with me in French, Spanish, English.
Pascal, it's still working now?
Can you use your laptop? Yeah.
I can't use mine. No. Yeah, that's good. That's the thing. The other one. Det jag klass och background.
Your talk is like more.
Yeah, I can't use it. Because I'm using the laptop and I don't have an extra hand.
We'll have to try the other one again.
Yeah.
So now we get our meal.
It's going to be crowded.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, you might want to ask people to move.
Yeah, I always do.
We need to,
I always do, yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Pardon?
From 12 to 1 o'clock.
Talk to Francisco.
Just stop it from coming in for free.
Alex wants to use that one.
Yeah.
So did you fix this?
Well, it wasn't broken, but it's just like because I'm next.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm going to do the intro on this and then I'll turn it off.
This is the lock button, but it automatically locks after like 10 seconds. So you have to push this, scroll down, and push again. And then you can keep it fresh and turn it off.
My fault that I did not close the
You didn't know. So push, scroll, push, and then
I saw the lock and I put it there. I was like, maybe it's okay.
Everybody squeeze into the middle, especially on that side.
you tell them to be aware of the camera.
Yeah. To do what, the camera?
Okay, we're running a tight ship here, so we're going to get started. We're already 5 minutes over. Couple
couple of quick things. Please use all the empty seats that you can in the middle. Squeeze in, make room at the edges. We're going to have more people coming in just to cause as little disruption as possible. Plenty of room at the back. Don't stand in the aisles if possible. If you're new to the room, we have a room code of conduct. Check it out, bit.ly, Mosdem/MosdemCoc. As I said, it's unique to this room, separate from the FOSDEM code of conduct, so have a quick look when you can, please. I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Alex Lakatos. His friends call him Laka. But for some reason he's not fond of that. He's a JavaScript developer by day and a Mozillian by night. He wears many hats. He's a Reps Council member and he's a tech speaker. And little known fact, in his misguided youth, he got a casino dealer license. So over to you, Alex. Take it away.
Thank you. Hi, guys. I'm going to use absolutely no slides, and I'm going to take a seat because I'm not as young as I like to think. I want to talk today about Firefox DevTools and some tips and tricks I use in my daily life and sometimes in my nightly life to develop websites. So, how many of you in the room are web developers? Yes. Okay, good. So most of you. I'm gonna, if you have any questions, I'm gonna be outside after this. I'm gonna try to make it on time, though. So let's get started. How would you open developer tools? This is just a small little demo page I'm using. I'm shamelessly plugging my blog here, even though it has only one article. So how would you use how would you open the developer tools? Most people go right click and then there's inspect element in here somewhere. But that opens up like just the inspector on the element you clicked. There's another way you can go to tools web developer and then pick your tool from there. Let's start with web console. Good. So I'm starting with web console just because this was the first and I always go there, but I want to show you inspector first. The whole idea behind it is my blog is buggy and I kind of want to fix my button here. If I want to do that, I have to select my button. I'm not really sure which one is my button. There's more elements. But I have this little search field here that helps me out with CSS selectors. And I'm using Material, so I know this is going to be an MDL button. Now, if I try to search for it, it's going to show me my page has like 4 different buttons on it. So I'm going to cycle through them until I get the one I want. Okay, so now I have my button. Come on, screen size. No luck. Good. So I can see my CSS, the CSS for my button right here. It's not the color I want it to be, so I'm going to try to look in here for colors, basically. Now, there's a lot of CSS, right? So I really don't know which one of them is the one I'm looking for, but trying to find the instance of color is going to take me some time. But I have this filter input here, and I can just say highlight color for me, and then everything that has to do with color is neatly highlighted for me. This is seeing as how it looks orange, I'm going to guess this is my button here. Now I want to make it red like every link on my site, so I'm going to just go and say red. I do happen to work in a company that's really fond of their style guides, and I can't just say red in my CSS. I have to have a hex color, but I have no idea what's the representation for hex right here. So I'm gonna have to shift click on the little dot there and see every other representation I have for that color. I'm gonna settle on hex. Now, if I look closely and my designers do, sadly. I see that this red is a bit different from the red I have in the links, so I kind of want to figure out what's the exact color for that. I could go and select the links and search for color again, but it takes a while. I'm lazy, so I'm going to just click on this little button, a color picker appears in the palette. I'm not really good with this, so I have no idea what's the exact red shade, so I'm going to just use color picker and try to pick the color from in here. And now I selected my color, it has the representation I want. There's up to 4 different representations in there. This only has 3 because that color doesn't have a name. I'm going to just go with the representation. So I show you how to do HTML and CSS, like play around with that. But that's not all you do on the web, right? There's still JavaScript involved somewhere. And if I look at my console logs, I can see I have some issues with my title. It's not exactly what the session title is on the schedule. So if I want to fix that, I kind of have to figure out where this comes from. So I'm going to go to the debugger. I have a panel that shows me every JavaScript file that comes into play in the page. Most of it comes off the internet, so I'm just going to look at my local files. But looking through it kind of has like 150 lines of code. I have to figure out where my console log is. So I have the search input. Now, searching through one file wouldn't be really helpful for me unless I really knew my app well. But this input has prefixes. So I can search through all files, I can only search for a function definition or search in this file or directly go to a line. I'm going to try to search in all files, so I need to prefix that and say console. And it's going to show me that's not the best idea. Let's see, DevTools. Okay, so it's going to show me where exactly I said DevTools in my code. If I go to that, I'm going to see my code. Now I want to kind of stop execution at this point and figure out what else is happening there. What I showed you so far is on par with other developer tools in the market. One of the things we're lacking for now is the ability to live edit code in Debugger. So if I want to make changes, I'm going to have to go back to my editor. But for that, let's just stop execution right here and see what's happening. When I click on the line number, I get this breakpoint right here that I can toggle on or off. I'm going to tempt the gods of Wi-Fi and do a refresh right now. Fingers crossed. Okay, gods of Wi-Fi are with us. So I can look at what's happening with my talk title. I have the whole scope of it. Execution is stopped. There's nothing in the console because execution is stopped. I have a visual indicator that says, hey, there's something going on in this tab. You need to pay attention. And it shows me everything related to the JavaScript that's running right there, the instance of this, even me, which seems I'm undefined for now. If I want to stop this whole, I can even make changes to objects that are happening there, which is not the best idea ever. If I want to close this, there's a simple way. I don't have to figure out what's happening. I can either run, and it's going to run my code through. I have the console log, or just untoggle the breakpoint, and that's it. Now, we build HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? But that's not everything that happens when you do a web page. Most of my websites have issues with the network transport because the way HTTP works, I'm never really sure how long it takes for my page to load. Like, I can figure out how big my page is, but then how long it takes to actually get that code, that's not that easy. So we have the method tab here that shows you every request you make. I'm going to try to make this smaller. I can't. Come on. Okay, so you have here 2 different sizes. That's my biggest issue is. One of them is size it occupies in transport, and then the other one is size it occupies on disk. You're going to see most of mine have the exact size, and that's because, well, I'm running off a local server. But the stuff I go online to get, like my material CSS, the difference is huge, like 6 times the difference. And that means I can really tweak my website to take as little time to transport as humanly possible. Now, if I just do size, if I just optimize for size and compress, maybe JZip, that's part of the problem. But the other part of the problem is there's something happening during transport that I'm not really sure about. So I can inspect the whole request, headers, cookies, responsive, but that's not my issue. My issue is I have no idea how long it took to do anything. So let's look at something else. Analytics. Okay, so this is a good example. I'm getting Google Analytics, right? And if I look at what's happening right there, it shows me every step of the HTTP request, and I see that connecting and sending and the whole transfer side took literally nothing, whereas I have a block connection. That means I have too many connections when I load my page, and it showed me it had to wait for maybe 70% of the time, just wait for a connection port to be available. And then once it got to the server was kind of slow, and it made me wait until it gave me a response. Now, if I own the server, I can basically trim down the waiting time to as little as possible. And as for block connections, I make a lot of them, so I should stop. But I had no idea this was happening until I opened up my timings pane right there to see what's happening. One of the other things I do on a daily basis is deal with storage in one form or another. We've got a storage tab that has cache storage, cookies, and IndexedDB. You have local session storage, but I rarely use session storage, maybe local. But it shows you everything that you've got in there. I don't use local storage on this one. I've only got cookies. Now, one of the problems I have with cookies is they used to track me, right? And if I want to change a cookie so I'm not tracked anymore, I have to write some JavaScript and find a way to execute it in the page, maybe use GreaseMonkey or something like that. Or what I do is I just go to the storage inspector, go to the cookie, inspect the cookie, and then I can just say no. And I change my cookie in DevTools. It literally took 30 seconds to change my cookies. I didn't have to write fancy JavaScript for it. I do this as a personal browsing preference, and when I work with cookies, so it helps me both ways. Now, everything I showed you is in Firefox right now. This is the release version of Firefox. But some of the things in here, some of the things in DevTools don't come in the regular version of Firefox for the next 16 weeks or something like that. So we have different versions for developers. I think Pascal mentioned the Dev Edition. Now the problem with Dev Edition is if Pascal gets his way with Nightly, he's going to kill Dev Edition. So I might just use Nightly from now on to do DevTools. Let's power up Nightly. DevTools, okay. One of the things that's not in the release version, I always like to at least check up what's happening with DevTools because, well, in 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever, they're going to come and interfere with my work, basically, and my productivity. So I like to stay ahead of the curve. I always, whenever there's a new Nightly version, which incidentally is every day, I go and try to see what changed in the developer tools, read bug, like the commit messages and stuff like that. One of the things I noticed is DevTools, for example, in this version has something to do with, come on. Something to do with screenshots that it's not in the regular one, so I can just screenshot the clipboard. I opened up the settings page because I'm particular and I like to tweak my tools to suit my needs. One of the things I do, and you can do with this, is disable HTTP cache when this this whole heads-up display is open. So when DevTools is open, it disables HTTP cache. Why I do this is, my blog, for instance, is cached, so when I change something, I hit refresh like 20 times, and nothing happens, and it's just driving me insane because cache is open. Now I can always make sure cache isn't open. You can do disable JavaScript and hardcore stuff like that. Not my cup of tea. How many of you used Firebug before this? Okay, I'm a bit nostalgic, so every once in a while I go to themes in here and I choose the Firebug theme just because it always, when I do this talk in front of, I did it in front of students this week, it kind of confused the hell out of them what Firebug was, but the nostalgic in me kind of likes the idea of going old school once in a while. Have the power of the new DevTools and the look and feel of the old Firebug. I think I'm quite on time, and I have 5 minutes left for questions. If you guys have any questions, yes.
When will the new React DevTools debugger land station?
That's a really good question. So the question was, when is DevTools HTML going to land and land in release? It's not. The whole idea is we created the DevTools in an HTML way, React Redux and stuff like that. We have Debugger and Performance Inspector, and the idea behind that is to move DevTools outside into an add-on so we can ship faster. The whole idea behind Mozilla is shipping faster right now, so and growing, and we want to move that into an add-on that can be shipped faster. So I don't think it's going to land on the 3. It's going to land in AMO, maybe. Any more questions? Yes?
Is source maps working? Because I'm checking and apparently no source maps.
Is source maps working? Well, in the debugger it works for sure. In console it just landed in the latest version, so in console you might have to update or switch to nightly for it working. It means it's a bug then. Because it landed, I'm sorry, this is, if Pascal's around, please log a bug with him. So the whole idea of source map is, we had it in debugger for a really long time, but a lot of people wanted to see it in console as well. So we landed the last iteration of Firefox, it should be there. Any more questions? If that's the case, thank you all, and I'm going to be around the booth if you have questions.